Today on Dr. Phil.
Lemoyne was last seen leaving the casino. His body was found days later.
A cold case mystery.
You believe that your mother and brother have something to do with the death of your father.
I think it's ridiculous.
You don't even talk to us. The only thing you want is the money, money, money.
You work at the casino? Why did you leave early that night?
America's most watched talk show.
Did you have him killed?
No. If I'm wrong, strike me dead now.
It's a 3-year-old mystery that remains unsolved and leaves a family divided. A hardworking, outgoing, loving father who would do anything for his 11 beautiful children disappears on his way home from a night of gambling at a local casino.
Glenn Lemoyne was a father of 11 children, and today they are speaking out about the mystery surrounding his death, since it's never been determined what happened or if someone is responsible.
We were told initially that he drowned, and then the final autopsy report came back, which was 4.5 months later, said that it was undetermined.
Lemoyne was a regular at the Cypress Bayou Casino and was known to win big. Lemoyne was last seen leaving the casino. However, his body was found nearly 2 miles away in a canal a few days later. His family says the night he died, he ran his car into a ditch getting onto Highway 90, but survived without injuries.
This is where my dad's car went off the road.
There was no physical damage to the car whatsoever. Did someone run him off the road? Was someone hiding in the back of his car?
Lemoyne's body was found in the Sheraton Canal, fully clothed and missing a hand. Nothing seems to point to how or why his body was found in the canal 2 miles away.
Right over here is where his body was found, face down.
The autopsy report lists cause of death as undetermined, but Lemoyne's children believe he was the victim of foul play.
To have his death come back listed as undetermined, and deep down in your heart you knew something wasn't right, is just unbelievable.
With the cause of death listed as undetermined, some of Glenn Lemoyne's daughters were desperate to find out what really happened to the father the night he went missing.
A reward poster firmly sits in front of the home of one of Glenn Lemoyne's 11 children. It's a reminder there's still more questions than answers in his mysterious death.
This is one of the many signs that we have posted all over. We posted thousands of them.
Lemoyne's daughters have wondered for over 2 years how their father died. And since then, they've gone to great lengths to clear up a cloudy conclusion. And after hiring a private investigator, they're hopeful the events of August 7th, 2010 will come to light.
The investigator has suggested that we get a second autopsy.
Lemoyne's daughters have exhumed his body. His body was taken to a lab in Birmingham, and an independent pathologist concluded his death was a homicide.
The doctor has excluded drowning and natural causes. We do know that there was trauma done to his body prior to his death.
And seeing the latest findings from the pathologist they hired was not easy to read on paper. It only confirmed what they say their hearts already felt.
I believe in my heart that my dad was beaten and thrown in the water by someone.
Someone out there saw something that night and someone knows something. Please give this family closure, give us peace.
So you think the family would band together, right? One for all and all for one, to find out who killed their father. But that is not the case. With no leads and the trail growing colder day by day, this family is fracturing. On one side, we have sisters Denise, Amy, and Bernadette, who are pointing their finger at their mother, Ellen, and their brother, Sean. Take a look.
I believe my brother Sean knows what happened to my dad.
Denise and Amy feel like there's some sort of cover-up.
If he didn't do it, then he does know who did.
I do wonder if my mom knows anything. I feel that my children really believe that I'm withholding some information about their father's death. Why would I want to hold anything back from them? They're my daughters. They're my family.
I think Sean and Mom share a lot of secrets.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that my own flesh and blood would think that myself or my mother would want to cover up anything. It's ludicrous.
Sean was not on talking terms with my dad one day. He actually pushed my dad, and my dad fell, and his hands were all scraped up. He like slid on the cement.
My brother keeps telling me I'm crazy, that me and my sisters are crazy for still investigating this.
I feel that they just cannot accept that they may never know what happened to my father that night.
Not once had they asked how the investigation was going.
I really feel Denise and Amy and Bernadette need to stop with the investigations. I don't know what more to tell them. We are hiding nothing.
Well, first off, let me say to you, Denise, Amy, Bernadette, I'm very sorry for your loss, obviously. I hate that for you. What happened here?
I think that someone did this to our father, and they're just not saying.
Why
would they
so
do that?
many things that don't add up.
We don't know if he might have been owed, he owed somebody money or anything. He was leaving the casino.
Are we talking about $500 or $50,000 or $100,000? How much money are we talking about?
15,000, possibly.
Because he would borrow money from people if he didn't have any to gamble more. We know that he did have a gambling problem.
You think maybe somebody
Followed
went
him,
after him,
followed him and ran him off the road and robbed him.
Someone was in the backseat of his car whenever he was valet parked. It was for him to just run off the road, a road that he traveled many times, just doesn't add up.
Yeah. Okay, are you the only family members that think this?
The other ones don't. They feel it too. They're afraid to say.
They're afraid to say it.
They don't want to lose family members.
We've lost one parent, and we don't want to lose another one.
But yet you're accusing her of wrongdoing.
We feel that there's a lot of things that she's been suspicious about.
Well, that's a serious allegation to accuse your own mother of either being involved or withholding information about your father's death.
It's deep down. It's how we feel.
You think it would bring a family together, but instead she just doesn't care.
You're saying that there's somebody that she's involved here in some way.
With everything that's been going on, nothing adds up. And if she cared and she had nothing to do with it, she wouldn't be acting the way she does.
Or that she's covering for Sean, the oldest brother.
Okay.
That he knows. He worked at the casino.
So you actually believe that your mother and brother have something to do with the death of your father. And we're talking about a man that in the second autopsy here, there was indication that there was foul play. His left hand was missing, for one thing.
Who would kill an innocent man for no reason?
Well, what effect has this had on your family?
It has torn the family apart.
How can you say it's not torn apart by the fact that you're accusing them of being involved in the murder of your father?
We've never told her about it. So you can't talk to her.
You've never said this to her face?
No, because
well, you're going to get the chance. Denise, Amy, and Bernadette are convinced their father was murdered and their mother Ellen and brother Sean are somehow involved, covering something up, withholding information. Well, we're going to find out what Sean and Ellen have to say when we come back. Now, they have even agreed to take a polygraph test. That's been done. I've not looked in that envelope yet, but I will before the show's over. We'll be right back.
I have a gut feeling that my mom knows how my dad died. My mother did not help us at all during the investigation. I feel my mother did not show any sympathy when my father passed away. I felt her tears at the funeral, crocodile tears. I really do feel that she's withholding information.
And later...
If I'm wrong, strike me dead now.
But you don't even talk to us. The only thing you want is the money, money, money.
Because
That's all you talk about.
That's because I've got an IRS bill due next week.
The second autopsy had to be done in Alabama. My sister and I followed the van all the way there. We wanted to make sure that the body was not tampered with. When we got to the hotel, we asked the driver if she could park the van outside of our hotel window so we could watch it all night long. We actually wanted to bring him in the room with us, but they told us that they couldn't do that.
Well, it's been 3 years since Glenn Lemoyne's body was found floating in a canal. This happened in 2010. Now, the cause of death was originally ruled undetermined, but with so many unanswered questions, family members decided to have a second autopsy. Now, sisters Denise, Amy, and Bernadette are convinced that there was foul play involved, and sadly, they are suspicious of their own mother and brother. But Mom Ellen and brother Sean say the girls are being ridiculous. They just need to accept this and move on.
Denise and Amy or obsessed with finding out what happened to my dad that night.
I don't know what it would take for them to be convinced. I wish I knew. Whatever they want, I'll give it.
The second autopsy, the private investigator, reward posters, the accusation and suspicions that my mother and myself would be hiding anything.
I did not have anything to do with Glenn's death. I'm hurt. I'm angry that my kids really believe that I'm withholding something from them. I know nothing. Sean knows nothing.
I think Denise and Amy really just need to move on.
I would like to see Denise, Amy, and Bernadette find some closure. I can't bring Glenn back, but we have us. I gave birth to 11 children. Let's put us back together.
Joining us now are Ellen and Sean. Now, you've been listening to the show so far, right?
Yes.
These three, your daughters, your sisters, believe that the two of you are involved in some way in the death of your former husband and your father. What do you say about that?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it makes absolutely no sense.
It hurts.
It hurts.
It hurts so bad.
How does it hurt whenever it's all about money? Still, through this whole investigation, it has been never, how's the investigation going?
Or how are
it's
you?
all about the money.
Or how are
and
you?
what about the money? Where's the money at? When am I going to get the rest of my money?
Mama, I don't remember hearing from you.
How are we supposed to move on?
How
and
can you
put this
tell us to
behind
stop
us?
ever looking for answers?
Never said that.
Yes, you have.
No.
He told me we need to stop focusing on our dead dad and focus on our live mom. I'm in my mom's life. I live 3 houses down from her. I never push my mom away. I do.
I never said.
Because I never hear from
never said
anybody.
give up
When do we
hope.
ever hear from you? Really?
Because I feel like y'all pushed me away.
Okay, time out. Time out. We seem to be, A, all talking at once, and B, blurring things. You tell me that you believe these two are somehow involved in the death of your father. Then you say, but I don't understand why we're not as close as we were. Do you think this woman had your father killed?
I hope not. I hope not.
You say yes. You say this. You think this woman had your father
Because
killed?
that's the only way she was going to get her money is
I
knowing that
honestly
he was
that-
dead.
They were going through divorce.
Because it was all about...
Can I finish? Half of the money of whatever of the property settlement had never been settled in the divorce. So legally, alive or dead, half of the money was hers.
And she knew.
Because it was a fight about money before.
Have you three become obsessed about this?
Yes.
You wanted
Finding out what
to
happened to
keep. You
him?
wanted to keep his body in your hotel room.
They're
Were
crooked.
you afraid someone was going to tamper?
Yes.
Because that's what's
But
been
yet
done.
there's-
Not them,
The
not
shit-
them.
No,
But yet
the
there's
police
no
department that was
information-
doing the
There's no
investigation.
information from any of the police agencies. There's no information from the
Exactly. They won't
private
give us any
investigator.
information.
There's no information from the second autopsy other than saying that
That we know of.
that
A lot of
there
information was told
blunt
to you.
force trauma. There's
Yeah.
nothing that's
He
came to
told me
light
the other day when
publicly.
he called me, he said that, just because he said the second autopsy indicated nothing. I said, that's not true.
I never knew about the second autopsy
He
because they
said
never
the head
shared
trauma,
the
what,
information
Amy?
Did you ever
the
call
head
and
trauma,
ask what it
he
is?
said he could have been hit by a boat when he was in the water.
I didn't know.
No.
I'd
Okay?
never seen
I'm
the
not done
second
talking.
autopsy.
And he told me that he said, okay, Amy, we go on the show. He said 6 months down the line, he said nothing comes out of this, nothing good comes out of it. He said, will y'all stop looking for answers?
When is a case
I said,
ever
looking
solved
for
right
answer
away?
for what? He said, finding out what happened to Dad. I said, absolutely not. I will never
said
find
give up hope. I never
Yes,
said
you were.
stop.
Let's come out with
I
this
said
screenshot.
yes,
Stop
sir.
lying.
Yes, you have.
Mama,
Yes,
he
you
called
have.
me right
You
before he
have.
left.
Yes,
I'm
I
not taking
did.
side for this. You know what
See,
you
you're
have.
taking-
A lot
you're
of
taking
this video.
sides.
Put it
Whoa,
on
whoa,
Detective
whoa,
on you
whoa,
and see what to ask you those same questions.
whoa. I've lost myself here. What is it that you're upset with him about now?
He called me
He told us
Saturday
to move
morning.
on.
What day was it? Sean, pull up
Friday
your phone.
morning.
Friday
Friday
morning.
morning.
He called me Friday morning.
And
asking, what do y'all think y'all going to get out the show? I said, I want to know
Good
what happened to
question.
my father. I want to know what happened to my father. I said, and do you, if you know anything. He said, I think you're sick if you think I'm holding information. I said, okay. He said,
what do you expect his reaction to be when you call him up and
well,
say?
he called me screaming.
Yeah, he has.
But don't you expect him to be upset about that?
Absolutely.
I wrote down some
But
key
shouldn't
things. I wrote down some key things you said, Amy.
Okay.
You said that you think that your father may have been drinking and run off the road and then walked away from the scene so he didn't get a DUI.
Walking back to the casino.
And maybe got picked up along the way.
Right.
Okay. You three have said that your father had a gambling problem. But you blame your mother because you say that she insisted that he go to the casino. You described your mother in these terms: pure evil.
How she acts. How she acted towards my dad. That's what I said.
Pure evil.
Yes.
You saying
Mama,
towards the end? That's right, because I didn't want to go.
He drove us.
You say that Sean lied about checking on him. You say he left the casino early, and that is suspicious.
Right.
And you say that you believe there are security tapes that will poke holes in his story, and he won't produce those tapes, but yet he works at the casino and therefore could produce them, and in fact is friends with the sheriff. And obstructing.
These two have still just recently had a lunch date together. Why would you go and have a lunch date with the sheriff?
I thought you said you were friends.
Yeah. Why would you have lunch with the sheriff that has not done anything with the investigation?
I got to take a quick break. Denise, Bernadette, and Amy say their mother Ellen is greedy. She cares about one thing, and that's getting her hands on their father's money, which they believe could have been a motive behind their dad's death. We're going to find out what Ellen has to say about that when we come back. And I have been doing some homework, and hopefully we're going to clear some of this up before it's over with. We'll be right back.
Without a doubt, I feel that my mother is greedy and selfish and cold-hearted. All she's worried about is the money from his estate.
And later, were the results clear?
Very clear.
Did you have confidence?
Absolute confidence.
Money is a big problem with my mom. My dad wasn't in the ground yet, and my mom was looking into pulling the kids' Social Security out.
I found out that the IRS is taxing me for the entire amount of money that came out of his retirement in my name.
I've had more calls about money than I have about our father's investigation. But it's always about money.
I cannot get my daughter to give me just the portion of money that I need to pay my taxes.
Mom is insisting on getting that money, and I feel like she would even come down to suing us to get it.
Mom only cares about getting the money, and she doesn't really care about her kids.
Without a doubt, I feel that my mother is greedy and selfish and cold-hearted. All she's worried about is the money from his estate.
What do you say to that? They're basically saying that you either caused or involved in or somehow have knowledge of the death of your ex-husband, and you did it for money. Are you involved in this?
No.
Did you have him killed?
No, I would never. He is the father of my 11 children, and any mother would know that to see a child hurt, a mother hurts twice as bad. And if I'm wrong, strike me dead now.
But you don't even talk to us. The only thing you want is the money, money, money.
That's
all you talk about.
That's because I've got an IRS bill due next week.
Look, we keep getting off point here, which makes me wonder if y'all really believe what you're saying. If I believe that the woman sitting across from me was involved in the murder of my father, I don't think I would give a damn about an IRS bill or how she was spending her money. But you keep changing subjects.
Because it hurts to know that she's more worried about that than
because I can't bring back your father.
Out.
There are 7 other children in this family that are here. You're Philip and Felicia and Kristen. Okay, and then on this side we have Patrick, Mark, Rachel, and Nicole. So we've got a big family here, all concerned about this. Kristen, you look like you want to say something, do you?
I just wanted to say that she says we push her aside. I don't go around so much because it's always a put down about Dad. You still talk about him like he was a horrible person. He's our dad. We're still grieving.
Do you do that?
Maybe I do. I lived with him.
Any divorce, you're going to hear negative things on both sides. They're going to say negative things. I sometimes don't understand. My dad, I love my dad. He was a good person. I don't understand why they put him up on a pedestal, but she's down here.
Daddy called us
Who
every
was
day.
Dad there? Dad was there whenever
Because he came over and talked. He was at our house all the time.
Us about the
nothing to do with a
problems.
pedestal.
Anyway, but he came to us about the problems when Mom left him. He came to us. We tried to talk to Mom. She don't want to talk about it. Get out.
Let me ask all of y'all something. You say that your father had a gambling problem. We're all agreed on that, right? Let's just see what we can agree on. We can agree that he had a gambling problem.
But that...
Sorry, go ahead. And can we agree that he was a drinker?
He was an occasional drinker.
No,
he wasn't a
he
drunk.
was a heavy drinker.
He would have his job
was
for
a heavy
35
When he
years.
did drink, it
On
was
the
never
weekends.
On the weekends.
On the weekends.
On the
Not
weekends.
every
once
one
did
to
he
come
drink
home
heavy.
every now and every day after work.
Well, it's
and
your
have a drink.
theory that he walked away from a DUI crash.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
you must think you're saying he doesn't have a drinking problem?
If he ran off the road or somebody ran him off the road, I think that he went and hid because he didn't want a DWI.
Okay, and I'm just saying, is there a possibility here that his lifestyle, the choices that he was making is what led to his death and not
because he was
complicity by a
grieving
money
because she
hungry?
left him and with the things that she was driving him to do. It wasn't that bad before they split up.
But I'm wondering, is there any point, and I don't mean to besmirch the memory of your father, but is there any point at which you have to say, this guy sometimes would drink too much, he was gambling, he would borrow money from people?
No, because that's not the kind of person he was. He was still a very family man. If he drank on the weekends and at night, he wasn't one that had to have a drink.
But did he make 3 phone calls from that bridge
Yes, he
about
did.
4 a.m.?
Yes, he did.
And
Almost
did he
5
leave
o'clock.
the casino after 1 a.m.?
Yes, he did.
So he's out late at night.
Because he had nothing else to do. He
drinking
was home
and-
alone.
And gambling. I want to get everything on the table
It
here
is.
if we're going to
It
figure
is.
something out.
But
Are
still,
we
who would have
crazy
killed
for
him?
Are we crazy for wanting to know what happened to our dad?
Oh, my God, no.
He
Well,
told
then
us we're
that's
sick.
what- here we are.
He told
No,
me.
you're
If
not,
he
you're not
asked me
crazy. If there's an unsolved crime, if there was a crime, and if that crime is unsolved, then, of course, you want to know the answer to it.
Okay,
But I'm hearing some pretty weak-kneed theories about why these folks are to blame, and I could be wrong. We're going to find out pretty soon because we did a polygraph, very specific questions, and we're going to get to that later. Let's take a break right now. We're going to find out why a second medical examiner says Glenn Lemoyne's death was in fact a homicide, which is what they're upset about, that it was not an accident. We'll be right back. You were asked, were you involved in causing the death of your ex-husband? The results for you, it indicates it's a 3-year-old mystery that has divided a family of 12, each with their own opinions of what happened to Glenn Lemoyne the night he disappeared on his way home from a local casino. Now, Sean says his sisters are obsessed with their father's death and that now they're trying to incriminate him and his mother, Ellen. This is offensive to you.
It's very offensive. It's very offensive as being the oldest in this family, the oldest sibling in this family, who, while they think I hated my dad, was very close to my dad.
Isn't it true that there were times that you and your father had a very volatile relationship? In fact, didn't you get in a fight with him, at least on one occasion, that turned physical?
And you pushed him?
There was one occasion
left
on my
him
front
with
lawn,
scrapes
yes.
and cuts
yes.
and bleeding?
Yes. And when I say I pushed
Did you
him-
work at the casino?
Yes, I did.
Why did you leave work early that night?
I go to the casino, it's no set time. It all depends on how much they need you, of when you leave. I never left any different situation than I would have every single night.
Your sisters say that you left, these sisters say that you left early that night, which was very out of pattern for you, and it was just odd that you seemed to leave on the night that your father
Absolutely not.
But he went and checked on my
Absolutely
dad.
Did you check on him
I'm not
that
going to
night?
say I did it every single night.
Did you do it that night?
Yes, I did it that night because he was right outside where I was
He checked on
working.
him every night.
Told him good night, and I left. Made sure he was okay, and I left.
They think you lied about checking on him that night.
That's fine. They can believe what they want.
Now, the family contacted a second medical examiner, Dr. Shaker. He performed a second autopsy on Glenn Lemoine 2 years after his death. He says Glenn's death was a homicide. Dr. Shaker is on the phone. Sir, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Tell me what you were able to determine with regard to the manner and cause of death here.
As a matter of fact, I concluded my autopsy report by the cause of death as of undetermined means of violence and the manner of death as homicide.
So the cause was an undetermined means of violence, which means you don't know if it was a knife or a club or whatever, but you believe that the manner of death, the manner in which this life ended, was homicide.
Correct.
All right, how could you determine that 2 years after the fact when we know the body was decomposed and there was evidence of a car crash prior to finding the body?
As a matter of fact, I was told that the car was in a ditch and the body was found 2 miles away from that in a canal. And I found evidence of blunt force injuries to the back of the chest and sharp force injuries to the neck, and surrounded by hemorrhages and subdural hemorrhages in the chest area. In addition to the microscopic examination that revealed that those injuries were before his demise, where during he was alive at that time.
Was there any water in his lungs?
No, neither the first autopsy report nor I found any signs of drowning at all. So drowning was excluded as a cause of death.
Okay, so he was not alive when he went into the canal.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Dr. Shaker, that is very helpful. I appreciate your sharing this information with us and giving us your opinion of this as a medical examiner. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on your show, Dr. Phil.
You bet. Ellen and Sean both say they have nothing to hide and agreed to take a polygraph test to prove it. But they insisted that Denise and Amy also be tested. What did they want to know about them? We're going to find out the results when we come back.
I want my mother and Sean to take a polygraph test so that I know that they had nothing to do with this.
If they take a lie detector test and it passes, then I'll forgive them. I'll understand. I'll be able to move on.
I have no problem taking a lie detector test. I have absolutely nothing to hide.
Well, Ellen and her son Sean say they had nothing to do with their ex-husband and father's death and are tired of certain family members pointing the finger at them. So they both agreed to take a polygraph test to prove it. Now, we used, as we often do, expert polygraph examiner Jack Tremarco. He administered the test, and I think you fastly saw that this isn't a television polygraph that like you see sometimes on some dating show or talk show or whatever. This was a very serious procedure, correct?
Correct.
How did you feel the procedure went? Were you treated professionally?
Oh, yes. I felt very comfortable and not in any way, shape, or form forced or uncomfortable.
Okay, and how about you?
Same way.
Okay,
Felt very
so
comfortable.
you two also took polygraphs, and you as well? No. Just the two of you?
Yes, just the two.
Okay, because I haven't opened this yet. The two of you. What was your experience with Mr. Tremarco?
He reminded me so much of my dad.
Was he professional?
Very professional.
Did he know what he was doing?
Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
Okay, Jack, let me ask you, did you detect any countermeasures here? Was there anything that caused you to be suspect of the results of the polygraph?
No, all the exams went smoothly. No indication of countermeasures. Countermeasure is an attempt to muddy the waters of the polygraph process or to beat the exam.
Okay. Were the results clear?
Very clear.
Did you have confidence?
Absolute confidence.
Okay. And let me ask you two, you three, you 10, if this polygraph indicates that they didn't withhold knowledge, participate in, or in any way cause the death,
Then we're willing to tell them we're sorry.
and
And we forgive them for everything.
And if they have told the truth in everything that they've said, then you're going to accept that as well, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, all right. Let's start with the results for Ellen. You were asked about one issue and two different questions, but it was one issue asked two different ways. You were asked, are you deliberately withholding any important information from anyone regarding the death of your ex-husband?
No.
And you were asked, were you involved in causing the death of your ex-husband? And you answered,
No.
Sean, you were asked, are you deliberately withholding any important information from anyone regarding the death of Glenn? And you answered,
No.
regarding your dad's death, are you concealing any important information from anyone?
No.
The results for you, it indicates that you were not being deceptive, that you were telling the truth when you answered those questions, that you were not being deceptive, that you were telling the truth, that neither one of you
No. We want to move on. We want to move on. But we need this to end.
We need to be together, too.
I know. We need our mom. We don't have that.
Hurry.
These two took polygraph as well, and they're telling the truth. Neither one
I'm
of them.
very happy about that.
Neither one of them are lying. They're not fabricating anything. They're not lying about anything. They're telling the truth as
Great.
well.
That's what I was hoping for.
So, will this family finally put all this finger pointing and blame behind them on what you're saying, which is what really happened to this man? We'll be right back. Sean has said that he's obviously grown very tired of his sisters, Denise and Amy, pointing the finger and accusing him of covering up what happened to their father the night he died. He also wants them to stop blaming their mother, and we've just had some polygraph results, which I think are going to really move us along towards that. So everybody gets now that they have absolutely nothing to hide. Everybody passed the polygraph, right? So that does what for you?
That helps a lot in knowing that they had nothing to do with it, that they weren't trying to cover up for someone else. But we still want to know who did do this.
Okay, but I'm asking what it does for you to know that your suspicions, your allegations...
I knew in my heart they never did it. It's just you always had that in your mind.
In the back of our mind, and that is clear.
What if?
I know y'all want to blame somebody. We all want to blame somebody, but why blame your mom, your brother?
Sean got in a fight. I didn't ask to be. He called me about started telling me we need to stop looking for answers, and I don't believe that. I don't, and I won't.
I don't believe that nobody should ever give up hope that one day something's going to happen. But I do believe that they have to somehow put this on the back burner to move forward with their lives. I believe that they need some sort of grief counseling. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that y'all feel the way you do. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I believe that that's just consumed you two, especially, have totally consumed you and has affected your daily lives with us, with your own families.
No, it hasn't.
No, because it just happened.
Look, you don't like what he did. You don't like what he says when he calls, or that he has a different attitude about this. Let me tell you, everybody grieves differently, okay? And you have to respect other people's rights to grieve in their own way. He has to respect y'all's right to grieve in your own way. But, and you can tell them your opinion. You can say, listen, we always want to continue this. We want to encourage law enforcement to continue the search. We want to do all that. But I don't want it to paralyze your lives. He's entitled to tell you that. You don't have to agree. You don't have to accept it. But that doesn't mean that he loves your father less than you do because he grieves in a different way. And people confuse that. They think if I loved really deeply and I loved in a committed way, then I will grieve deeply and I will grieve forever.
And it's not about that. It's about finding the killer that killed him.
That's just simply not true. Okay, now, what about your point about finding the killer? What do you do with that without it paralyzing your life? We'll talk about that after the break. Look, I started this by telling all of you that I'm very sorry for your loss. I mean, it's very difficult to lose someone that you love, but it becomes much more difficult when it's in a violent way and when it's unknown. It's open. It's like an open wound. I mean, it's still there, right? It's, you know, closure's an overused word that's become so cliche as to lose its meaning, but it does give you some sense of peace if someone has been held accountable, if someone, at least you know, and that person has had to pay a debt in some way to be held accountable. And with that not having happened, then that obviously can leave everyone with very open and difficult feelings. I totally get that. And your challenge is to balance your life with never giving up your commitment to find and hold accountable the person or persons that are involved in this, but yet not letting it rob you of joy in your life, not letting it rob you of living in the moment, not letting it rob you of being future-oriented.
Was it investigated the way it should have been?
Well, the only thing, it was not a successful investigation. We know that, right? So to that degree, we know the answer is no, because they didn't find the person, right? If there's additional evidence, then the only thing you can do is try to get either state, county, or federal authorities that will go in and get a court order and get any information. Now,
of his clothing.
Well, we have a statement from the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office concerning this case. And it says, the St. Mary's Parish Sheriff's Office continues to engage in an ongoing investigation regarding the circumstances surrounding the death of Glenn Lemoine in August of 2010. The St. Mary Parish Coroner's report indicated an undetermined cause of death. Because of this determination, the Sheriff's Office investigation is open as to the cause of death. We have and will pursue any new information or leads that we receive. Because this is an ongoing investigation, the Sheriff's Office cannot publicly comment on particular evidence or the details surrounding the case. You never forget them, you never give up the hunt. But if you spend the rest of your life angry and bitter, that serves no one. It just means that more lives than his were destroyed in this. You just can't do that. All right, we have to stop today. I want to thank all of my guests for being here, and a special thanks to medical examiner Dr. Adele Shaker, and of course, as always, a special thanks to expert polygraph examiner Jack Tremarco. Jack, thanks for your always good work. All right, guys, thank you so much. Ellen, thanks. I hope this helps. I hope it helps. I really do. Thanks so much. Okay. All right, bye, guys. So long. This is 18-month-old Ellie. She was born 3 months premature, weighed a little over a pound, and had only a 10% chance of surviving. Now, she spent 5 months in the NICU and has been in and out of the hospital 8 times since. Ellie has a trach tube, a feeding tube, is unable to talk, and must live in a completely sterile environment. However, the problem we're focusing on today isn't Ellie's health. It's her parents who just can't seem to get along. Candace claims her ex-husband, Miguel, is an absent father who has abandoned her and their precious daughter.
Miguel is a deadbeat absentee father. Miguel has visited Ellie 2 times since he abandoned us. He will say that he's coming and then right at the last minute say, "Oh, I'm sick." Miguel uses the bad relationship between himself and my mom as a crutch to not have anything to do with Ellie. Miguel is very full of excuses. My daughter asked me and she has a feeding tube. Miguel knows absolutely nothing about how to take care of Ellie and all of her medical needs. I believe Miguel has chosen his new wife over his disabled daughter.
Well, Miguel says, whoa, that is completely untrue. He says he is desperate to see his daughter, but that he can't because Candace holds her hostage at his ex-mother-in-law's house. Now, he claims both women are to blame.
My ex-wife Candace is a vindictive, jealous, habitual liar. One of the main reasons I wasn't able to visit Ellie was because around March, Candace's mother had sent me some seriously nasty text messages telling me that under no circumstances, as long as my daughter is under her roof, that I will ever see my little girl. I took Candace to court for contempt because they were keeping me out of the house. That's why I can't make the 6-hour trip. They're vindictive enough and have been to where I could get 5 hours into my 6-hour trip and they could just change something up on me in a heartbeat to where I wouldn't be able to see her or your time's gonna be limited. They're just playing games with me. It kills me not to be with my little girl.
Well, the only thing Candace and Miguel agree on is that they disagree on everything. Just months ago, Candace claims Miguel took his desperation to a dangerous level, threatening her safety as well as their daughters.
There was one time when Ellie went into the hospital and I was continuing to keep Miguel updated as much as possible, but most of those texts or phone calls were being ignored.
After Candace told me that Ellie was in the hospital, I asked her, how's she doing? And she refuses. She's at the hospital, it's bad. I was like, just let me know what her security code is if she gets admitted so I can call and talk to the hospital. She refused to give me this code. So I then contacted the hospital myself. They said, hold on, we got her in the ER. The ER then sent me to the OR, which I was freaking out thinking, did my daughter have surgery? Is she having surgery? What's going on? And then the OR basically is like, oh, no, she's on the 8th floor. I'm like, I'm Ellie's father. I'm just trying to see how she's doing. And she's like, there's no Ellie here, sir, we can't tell you anything. And at the time I got extremely frustrated. 2 people plus Candace just confirmed that my daughter's in the hospital. And now this lady's denying that my daughter even exists. I said, this is ridiculous. I am going to just sue the whole hospital, everything you guys have.
Because the secretary would not allow him to have access to her information, Miguel threatened to kill me and shoot up every nurse in the hospital if they didn't give him the GD information on his GD daughter. The nurses were on alert. Police officers were guarding the hospital.
Candace texted me, she's like, are you stupid? They told me that you were gonna come in here and shoot me in the head and you said that explicitly and all these kind of crazy things. The only thing I could think of is that she took, I'm gonna sue the hospital as shoot the hospital.
Those hospital threats did prove how irrational, scary, and terrorizing Miguel can be.
This is another example of my ex-wife Candace just being a complete liar and being completely vindictive against me and trying to keep me from seeing my little girl.
Yeah. So he's just absent, he's abandoned her.
Yes, I do. I feel like he just doesn't care about her, and if he does, he has a really terrible way of showing it.
Okay, well, the separation agreement says he can see his daughter anytime that he wants.
Right.
And you say, despite that, he has seen her twice in months?
Yeah, something between, let's say, April of 2013 and currently.
And the last time he saw her was 4 months ago.
Right.
He's not plugged in.
Right. He's totally, he knows.
Is that true?
No, I'm trying to be plugged in as much as I can.
Well, why aren't you?
Because I've tried to...
Your daughter, the court says you can see her. Why aren't you seeing her?
Because when I went to go down and see her, that's when her mother would send me those messages saying, you cannot come see her daughter under any circumstances. There's been false accusations against my family and things of that nature, and they won't allow me to bring her other family to come see her or anything like that. And I can't take the chance of being within that home with our whole family around of other accusations of happening.
Okay, but this is your daughter, and you have the right to see her according to the court. So why would you react to or give your power away to somebody sending you an email? Somebody sends you a text message, says, you're a slime ball, I hate you, don't come around here. Well, you have a court order that says you can. Why would you not do it?
I guess I was so afraid of going down. I was trying to do the best I could to keep peace. I truly was, and that's something that I definitely regret. I regret not going down there and just knocking on the door. Even if the door was closed in my face, I should have called the police and taken it from that
You want to talk about peace? Are you kidding me? Your idea of peace is sending text messages to me where you're screaming and cussing at me and calling me every name in the book. That is not peace. That is a flat-out lie, and you know it.
Okay, well, here's what the court says that you have the right to do. This is the finding of fact. It says, quote, while Eleanor has her tracheotomy and her gastrointestinal tube, father may come to the residence of wife to visit Eleanor whenever he wishes. Wife wishes to encourage this contact and shall accommodate this visit by allowing liberal amounts of time for husband and Eleanor to spend peaceful time together. Is that happening?
No, it's not.
You're not going, and she's not allowing liberal time and peaceful time.
And my biggest issue is that peaceful time, because there's times where I'll be like, hey, can I have am I going to have a peaceful time? You know, am I going to be able to sit in a room alone with my daughter? And she's like, there are no private rooms in this house.
Why would you sit in a room with a child you don't know how to take care of? Every time you've been in the hospital with her, you can't even change her diaper.
They haven't allowed me to change her diaper.
Maybe the reason he doesn't know is because you've locked him out.
It's never been my intention to lock him out.
Oh, really? On that note, we need to take a break. Next, I want to talk about what the social worker said really went down at the hospital.
Little video of
you need to man up and go see your daughter. I don't care what the hell somebody says.
Thank you.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. The social services record says the social worker allegedly blamed her, you, for not giving your ex-husband the patient's FIN number so he can get medical updates from the staff. Mom was adamant that she is not going to leave patient's room under any circumstances. Social worker reiterated to Mom that both have shared custody and he is allowed to visit separately given their volatile history. Candace advised hospital security will be contacted should she agree not to leave the room, and security will have her escorted. This mom repeated numerous times that she will not leave the room and let the dad have private visits with the patient. Hospital security will be notified upon dad's arrival. He is allowed the patient's FIN number that Mom hesitantly agreed. Mom said she felt it is unfair that patient's dad be allowed to have private visits with his daughter.
Okay, can I explain a little bit of that?
You need to, yes, because that to me sounds like you are being highly obstructionistic.
That makes me sound crazy.
But and you wanted a new social worker because this one didn't agree with you.
The problem was when he contacted me for the FIN number. It was 4:30 in the morning. My daughter had had a really rough night. We were in the emergency room for 16 hours.
She texted me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I was letting him know what was going on via text
Why not
message.
give him the number?
Because I was asleep.
You weren't asleep during your meetings with the social worker, were you?
No, I was not. I was not.
Then why were you continuing to say that her father does not even have the right to have the access number to get medical updates on his daughter?
In hindsight, I should have just given it to him. You're right. I will own that. I will say that I should have given it to him.
Then why did you want to fire this social worker? Because she's telling you what you don't want to hear.
I have had a really rough history with that social worker. This is one that has terrorized me in different ways, and I know that probably just seems like I'm just calling people out and calling people crazy and not owning it.
So you were terrorized by a social worker?
Yes. She threatened to call social service. She threatened to call DHS on me because my daughter spent a lot of time in the hospital for trach infections, and she was saying that I was actually making her sick. I never was making my daughter sick. And so this social worker has called me names and accused me of things that were not true. Now,
She's called you names. What has she called you?
She's called me a bad mother, and I'm one that tries to cause problems between the nurses and the doctors, and
Those sound like clinical observations, not names.
But she doesn't have the right to make clinical observations. She doesn't have a medical degree.
Well, she's licensed to make those observations and assigned to the case.
All I know is...
So what is she supposed to do?
She's supposed to... The job of a social worker is to make sure you have help with aftercare. You have to have, like, your supplies and stuff delivered. They're the ones that restart.
Well, where did you read that that's the job of the social worker?
Because I've spent a lot of time in the hospital with my daughter. I mean, I pretty much know, like, things that they're supposed to be doing. And doctors have even told me that that's not her job.
So you understand what the congressional mandate is for the Licensing Act of the social workers?
I don't understand what the congressional mandate is, but I do understand what doctors have told me when they've said that it's not her place to make those kinds of calls.
Really? Let's see if you've been cooperative here.
I haven't been. I'm not as much as I should.
On May 4th of 13, you write to Miguel, "We hit a milestone tonight. You couldn't even care less." Miguel says, "Just woke up. What is the milestone?" Laugh out loud. "Oh, you're going to act like you care this morning? Thought you had a trip with your precious Ugg this weekend." Now, who would Ugg be?
His wife. She has a name. I know. She has a name.
Miguel, what's the milestone, Candace? How is our daughter doing? You respond, "You'd know if you hadn't ditched her." Candace, does it not bother you a tiny bit that our daughter is trying to crawl today and you're not here to see it? Sad, Miguel, absolutely sad. Miguel says, "So that's the milestone that you're telling me about?" Candace, "No, it isn't. This is new. Doesn't matter. You're not here to see it."
She acts like I don't care about my little girl.
You need to man up and go see your daughter. I don't know what the hell somebody's saying to you.
Thank you. It does not matter what I say. You should have come see her regardless of what was happening.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. You set him up for failure.
I did.
And then you criticize him when you win. It sounds to me like you are a woman scorned.
In ways,
it sounds
yes.
to me that you are pissed off that he has moved on.
Oh, no.
And that you are using your daughter as a pawn in order to get back at him.
No, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's moved on.
Oh, that's why you call her Ugg instead of Cynthia?
Because...
I mean, what are we, 2 years old?
Yeah, you're right. But at this point in time, currently, I do not...
But you still think she's a skank and a whore and white trash and all the other
those
things.
were not my words.
Yeah.
I didn't say those words.
Yes, some of those came from your mother.
Yes, some of those...
At least we've got somebody mature here. Coming up, we're going to meet the woman Miguel says is the mastermind behind Candace's vindictive motives. It's been 6 months since Miguel has seen his ex-mother-in-law, but he's going to see her next.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding. She said, "You're becoming an N-word lover."
I told Miguel, I said, "I've called you plenty of things, a stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word."
When we were together, Miguel would control all of our finances. Miguel would question me about where I went, how long I was there, who I was with. At one point, he would take my phone with him to work because he was afraid that I would have contact with my family. Miguel had me convinced that my mom would tear us apart, that she was toxic for me. My mom is not controlling me. Miguel is the controlling one.
Miguel hasn't seen his ex-mother-in-law in 6 months. He says she's so toxic, her own daughter cut ties with her while they were married. Take a look.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding, basically telling her that you're making a huge mistake, he's terrible for you. She said a lot of things like, "You're becoming an N-word lover."
That is a lie, and he knows it. He brought that up to me and told me that I called his father the N-word and that I called him the N-word. I told him, I said, "I've called plenty of things, a stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word."
Candace's mother, Leah, is a manipulative person, someone who always has to have drama in her life.
Miguel has a very bad temper. He will start to scream and cuss and immediately start calling names. Miguel has called me the word, an B, a whore, a slut, stupid, insignificant, and a loser. Miguel told me he didn't want to sit at the same table with me because he said that I was fat and disgusting.
I don't believe I ever called her overweight, but gross and disgusting is very possible.
On the outside, Miguel appears very sweet and charming, but in reality, he is a very skilled liar.
Well, Leah, thanks for joining us. Did you want her to marry him?
No, I did not.
Were you happy when she did?
No, I was not.
Okay. Have you teamed up with her in threatening him and trying to keep him away from seeing his child?
We did make some threats at the beginning, but we have really moved so far past that.
Leah, you even come close to this house, I will have you arrested. Do you understand, you stupid, disgusting punk? And then you perch up here and say...
But we've tried to go past that, is what I'm trying to say. This was right after the divorce. We were all so angry at the time, but we've tried to move past that. But he still won't come see her. He still acts like she doesn't exist.
You have called Miguel punk, trash, deadbeat, stupid, idiot, loser, mama's boy, ignorant, and crybaby. The only good thing you've ever done was supply a tiny piece of DNA.
They're feeling so sorry for you.
Then you sent a text message that referred to Ugg, is it? Which I like to call Cynthia. Calling her cheap, trashy witch, picked up on the streets, tramp, and white trash.
Well, I mean, seriously, she walked in and stole my daughter's husband from her. I mean, I was mad. I'm not denying that for a minute. I was mad as a hornet.
Why is it okay for him to call me on the phone and say these nasty things to me, but it's somehow not okay for us to come back?
He dumped her at my house with no warning, abandoned her and the baby with no warning, and then took up with somebody that he had been talking to for
There was a complete plan of her to spend time
That is in your
house.
head, and you know it. And then before we knew it, he was engaged again. So you tell me that you hadn't already had it planned to take up with somebody else.
Not at
Oh
all.
my gosh.
No, I definitely
Now's the
didn't.
only time you have a chance to be honest. Please do
Yeah,
that.
please do.
I've been nothing but honest from the whole get-go. When
Try it. Maybe it'll get contagious.
right from
We're the ones that takes care of that baby day in and day out. I don't know why everybody's acting like that it's our fault, all our fault.
Who's everybody?
Every time he says something, they applaud like he's some great speaker.
This isn't an election. This is just a conversation. I mean, come on, you've got to own the fact. Look, you're the adult here, right?
I own every stupid thing I did. I know how immature and stupid and angry I was.
Why did you do that?
Because I was mad. She's my daughter.
Well, there's one more player in this mix.
Oh, here we go.
We might as well get her out here. Up next, for the first time, Candace will meet the woman she suspects was cheating with her ex-husband while they were still married. The woman she refers to as Ugg. After the break.
Not anymore. I'm very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia is trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them?
My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. They are teenagers.
I have never met Miguel's new wife, Cynthia. I've seen her from a distance and seen pictures of her. I've seen many photos of Cynthia drinking alcohol. I don't like to judge like that, but I do believe she might at least have a drinking problem.
I'm very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia appears to me as somebody who hasn't grown up, somebody who is selfish, who wants what doesn't belong to her. Cynthia appears to me as somebody who might just be as mean and vindictive as Miguel is.
My nickname for Cynthia is I believe she is a big word.
I think she's trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them? After Miguel dumped Candace and Ellie, we saw Facebook pictures and posts of Cynthia and Miguel within a matter of weeks. Miguel's in a relationship with Cynthia, hugging each other and sharing their holidays. It's disgusting. I wanted to slap his head off, and I wanted to slap her head off too. Cynthia stole my daughter's husband. I think Cynthia would love to steal Ellie.
My biggest issue with Cynthia is not so much that she's with Miguel. I believe that she has inserted herself into Ellie's life and trying to be a step-parent to a child she doesn't know. I just don't want to bring a stranger like that around my daughter.
Leah, you had said earlier that all of this name-calling and immaturity and want to slap their heads off and everything was early on when you were really upset, but that you had matured through that.
I know.
We taped this yesterday.
I know. I was thinking that while I was saying it. I thought I wasn't mad at you.
I mean, I'm just saying.
This is a totally different situation, though.
Yeah, right. Okay. Cynthia says that she has been nothing but nice and can't believe the childish behavior and horrible harassment she's received from people she doesn't even know. Take a look.
I went on my first date with Miguel on February 4th. And then 5 months later, we got married. I love it. It's the most beautiful ring I've ever seen. My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. Candace and her mother act like they're teenagers, sending mean text messages and threats. They are needlessly malicious. Miguel's ex-wife, Candace, is a horrible person. If you took all of the bad things you could think of and wrapped them into one person, that's how I see her. Early on in my relationship with Miguel, Candace was messaging me, telling me that Miguel was a bad person and that I needed to leave him. On Facebook, if you're not friends with someone, you have to pay money. So not only did she go out of her way to message me, but she actually paid to do that. Candace and her mother are very disrespectful of my position as Miguel's wife and as Ellie's stepmother. I love Ellie, even though Candace tries to keep Miguel away from Ellie. Miguel and I are going to do everything we can to constantly pursue his right to see his child.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. This is Leah.
Oh, nice to meet you.
And this is Candace.
It's nice to meet you too, Candace.
Hello.
And, you know,
I'm not
they're
gonna be
sitting
best
there
friends
talking
with her.
about the things that we've said. She said some things that she doesn't know anything about. She doesn't know anything about us, except for what he might be a little biased.
I've seen things that you've written to him.
Why don't you tell him when I sent that text message? It's days after you dumped my daughter. So why are you acting like it's a daily thing? Why are you sitting there acting like it's a daily thing? Like we're harassing
wait a
y'all?
minute. She just got here. What do you mean sitting there acting like?
I'm talking about on the
how
thing.
is she acting like anything? She's just sitting there.
I'm talking about on. She just said
Why
that
is
we
it not
harassed
okay
her.
for us to be upset?
She just
please
said
answer
that we've been harassing
sorry?
her. I've never said one word to you.
Can you please just explain to me why it's not okay for me to be upset?
Because you have a daughter that's getting caught in the crossfire between your immature exchanges with your husband. That's why.
it's not, but...
No, there's no but. You said, tell me why it's not okay for me to get upset. I said, because your daughter's paying the price. She's caught in a crossfire between your sophomoric behavior with your husband and Cynthia.
That's why we wanted to do this, because it's time it stopped.
Because here's the thing.
That's what I'm trying. You look like you don't believe me. It's absolutely the truth. Dr. Phil, I've waited all my life to meet you. I want your help. I seriously do. And it's not all our fault.
I'm not saying it is.
I legitimately just want to
You heard me say straight up that he needs to man up, not be intimidated by your ridiculous threats and name-calling.
Exactly. I know that that was not the right thing to do. And Ellie means more to us than I can even put into words. I don't want her to get to the point old enough that she sees this going on. I want us to make sure
Well,
we
let me
fix
ask you a
it
question.
first.
How would you feel if he had Ellie and was with his family and locked you out and threatened you if you came around? How would you feel about that?
Dr. Phil, I have thought about that. It would break my heart. I would want to die if that happened. I don't want that for them. I have felt sorry for his mother because she doesn't get to be the... I know you might not believe it, but it's the truth. I feel sorry that she doesn't get to be part of Ellie's life.
You guys accused his mom of trying to kill Ellie.
She turned the oxygen off. What would you call it?
It was on when I walked off, when I walked out of the room, and it was off when I came back in.
She admitted it. She said she did it. She turned off the oxygen.
Thank you.
Why else would be her
if
reason?
that was the case, though, why wouldn't you call the police?
Because we couldn't prove it.
Why wasn't
There was no way to prove it. What were we going to do?
Or believe me, we would have.
So you can't talk about something you don't know because you weren't there. Thank you.
Are you still in love with Miguel?
God, no. Not at all.
Candace says that she has gone out of her way to include Miguel in his life. So does he know the latest information about his daughter? We'll find out after the break.
The last time I visited my daughter, she was starting to make noises with her mouth, make little pops, and stand up on her own by pulling herself up. But I have not seen a single video or even a text message with information of what she is capable of doing right now. I have no idea whether Ellie can walk. I have seen her crawl across the bed, so I'm pretty sure she's scurrying around the floor, but anything past that, I have no idea.
Miguel says part of the reason he's here today is to find out how his medically disabled daughter is doing. He hasn't seen her in 4 months and blames his ex, Candace, for keeping him away. Candace says, hey, I have gone out of my way to be accommodating to Miguel, but he's just too wrapped up in his new life with his new wife.
Everything that we're saying now needs to be said. I have lots of questions that I feel need to be answered.
Which are?
Such as, how long have you actually been with Cynthia?
None of your business.
None of her business.
But if I feel like he was cheating on me, why shouldn't I know that?
What does that have to do with your child? You are now into co-parenting. See, the relationship didn't work. You got a divorce.
Because
right?
he dumped her.
But that's over.
I know.
This is not history class. This is Dr. Phil. History class is happening over at the high school. This is now. We're here. So we're here talking about the child, and you say you want to know if he cheated on you. I don't. Did he cheat on her? I don't know. He says no.
No cheating.
There's no cheating. They say no cheating. One of the first things I ask you is that you seem like a woman scorned, and you said, oh, yeah.
In ways I am, but not in ways I am not because they're together. It has nothing to do with that.
So you're scorned by someone else?
No. I'm scorned because of the way he's treated me, and he's acting like it's all my fault. It's not all my fault, because that takes two to tango, doesn't it? He wasn't trying to come see her, but I wasn't necessarily trying to let him. It just doesn't make sense how this all seems like it's my fault.
Nobody said it's your fault. I thought that the part about whether you were a good wife and husband was pretty much resolved with a divorce. That you decided that wasn't working. And maybe he's a crummy husband. Maybe
He's a great husband.
He was crummy to her.
Maybe he has grown up. Maybe he will be a better husband to you than he was to me. But please do not sit there and act like what I went through didn't happen, because it did. I was there, you weren't, that I know of.
I've never met someone as mean as you.
She is not mean. She's wonderful. And you married somebody way meaner than she is.
I think I would have figured that out by now.
Easy now, easy now.
He went running through the house one night when I was there screaming and cussing me out like I was a dog under his feet.
They were taking my daughter away when she left
You
the
are
first
lying.
time.
I'm not going to talk to him anymore. He's lying.
The only thing she said that night that you got upset about was the fact that she said, I came to see you and Ellie.
That
Who
was
else did
then,
she
this
come
is
to?
now. If you love your daughter, and I know you do, then you need to decide that you want to work on getting past all of this anger and bitterness and co-parent actively. And there is no excuse, not drive time, not feelings of tension or stress, or anything else that should be a high enough mountain or a thick enough wall to keep you from being actively involved in your daughter's life.
You're right.
And I think you do have a lot of unresolved conflict here, and I very much want to get you some help with that.
I would love that.
Now, Candace sent us some video of Ellie that you haven't seen. I wanted to give Miguel an opportunity to see his daughter in one of her most recent milestones. Here you go.
I missed my baby. That was at therapy. She gets therapy once a week with speech and physical and occupational.
So
I
there
miss
you go.
Thank you.
She was a pound.
1 pound 9 ounces, 13 inches
1
long.
pound 9 ounces at birth.
Her body was the length of my hand, and her little limbs would just hang off.
And she has fought since the day she was born. That's why it's important that we get this worked out.
She doesn't deserve this that we have, Miguel. We have to get past this.
I completely agree.
I want to get past it. I do.
Well, listen, I am going to get you some help and support. Fair enough? Okay, next, it's been 10 years since this young man nearly stole my car. He was a guest I will never forget. And he's here and cannot wait to see how he's doing. We'll meet him right after the break. Today's show has a little extra sentimental value to me because it is my 1,999th show. That's right. That means tomorrow is the big one, and it is full of surprises and updates from our most talked about guest over the past 12 years. But there have been so many memorable moments, there was no way they could all fit in one show, so I figured I'll start a day early. When I first met Ryan 11 years ago, he was only 8 years old and bravely battling leukemia. This little boy not only stole my heart, but also nearly stole my car. Take a look.
Dear Dr. Phil, my name is Ryan. I am 8 years old. I have leukemia, and it would be a dream come true to meet you in person.
You were telling me you like fast cars?
Yeah.
You and I are going to go out the back door, and I got a Formula One Ferrari out in the parking lot. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We'll be back, maybe.
The car was the best part of it all. It was awesome, man. You're a crazy driver. The Dr. Phil show made me feel so much better. I almost felt like I wasn't on chemo.
Well, joining me is Ryan's mother, Roxanne. Now, Ryan is celebrating 8 years of being cancer-free, correct?
Yes.
Oh, how great is that? Ryan is here also. Ryan, come on out. So good to see you. So good to see you. So how's life for you, friend?
Just turned 18, graduated high school.
Wow. That's just great. Now, Ryan made such an impression on me 11 years ago that I framed a photo of him, and it's hanging in a very special place in the studio. And that's a picture of you and I in my Ferrari 360 Spider, and I hope you've never told your mother how fast we went. I valued that so much, so I made a copy of that for you. And I hope you'll hang that in your house. We have partnered again with our friends at Expedia and Marriott for a week-long stay at the beautiful 4-star Waikiki Beach Marriott. Okay? All right. It's good to see you. Thanks so much. All right. My next guest, Tim, enraged viewers this year when he said in reference to his adopted son, Adam, I wish we actually drove past the hospital that day, went to the Humane Society and picked up a couple of strays instead. Take a look.
My son, Adam, is self-destructing before my very eyes.
After Adam's drug taking, his violent behavior, and the DUIs, we said no more.
You say he's an animal that belongs in a cage.
Absolutely.
I pulled a knife on my dad because I couldn't get their attention in any other way.
I regret the day that we adopted Adam.
Just 6 days ago, they had to bail him out of jail due to a felony arrest just so they could be here today. Okay, Adam, you just came out and you threw a pill bottle at your mother.
You said that you should have just drove past the hospital.
You know something, Adam?
That makes me feel really good.
I think you need help with drugs and alcohol. This is a gift from us to you.
You do your part, we'll do ours.
Actions speak louder than words.
Well, Tim, Adam, and Karen are here, and boy, how things have changed for them. So, Tim, talk to me here.
Wow. Well,
different world?
I wish there was something else other than just thank you I can say to really thank you, truly, that what you've created for us.
Well,
I
appreciate your willingness to come here. Mom, does it feel different?
It feels wonderful. We have our son back.
And Adam, they tell me that you have worked very hard and very sincerely in everything that you've been about down there.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Ben, and Origins. You guys saved my life.
I'm glad to hear that. And Ben, congratulations to you. And again, thank you for all the work that you do. Also, a very special thank you to OnSite for helping this family. Next, her wedding day was a disaster when she fainted and blacked out right before saying, I do. And it was all caught on tape. And they redid their wedding right here on this stage. Find out how they're doing 10 years later. Did it stick? We'll find out after the break.
My wedding day was a complete nightmare. I blacked out, collapsed, and I fainted.
Crystal says she's ready to conquer her fear of walking down the aisle once and for all.
Dr. Phil gave us a chance to redo our wedding on television. I was a little bit nervous.
Dr. Phil gave her some pointers to help her out.
He told me just to relax and take deep breaths.
Crystal, do you still take Brent to be your wedded husband?
I do.
Then you may kiss the bride.
We've been married for 10 years and we have 2 wonderful little boys.
Dr. Phil, thank you for letting us renew our vows. It was a really special moment.
That's great. Well, today's updates are just the tip of the iceberg, and tomorrow it is show number 2,000. The entire audience will be full of past guests. We are bringing them in from everywhere. And you'll hear updates from the biggest news stories from over the last 12 years. From what's going on with Casey Anthony to how the voice of Manti Te'o, catfish hoax, Renaya Tuiasosopo, is handling life out of the spotlight. We'll find out how Todd Herzog, who went from winning Survivor China to barely being able to walk on this stage, is doing. Did he stay in treatment? Is he sober? We'll also update the most rebellious teens ever. Did they manage to turn their lives around? There will be updates on the most controlling spouses and in-laws ever. Yeah, you guessed it. Plus, you at home will have a chance to win amazing prizes and vacations. You won't want to miss it. Now, also, I'm proud to announce that in 3 days, it is the live launch of Robin McGraw Revelation, Robin's own purpose-driven lifestyle brand. She will be premiering her skincare line on HSN's Beauty Report Thursday, April 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by multiple live appearances on Friday, April 11th. Also, Robin plans to make a special announcement on HSN regarding her foundation, When Georgia Smiled. Now, for a complete show schedule, you can visit hsn.com, keyword Robin McGraw. How excited are you?
Oh, I am so excited. I can't believe it's almost here. I have waited 3 years to launch Robin McGraw Revelation, and to be able to do it exclusively with HSN is so exciting.
And
yes.
it is, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun that When Georgia Smiled is going to be part of all of this.
Oh, I have a beautiful, beautiful announcement to make for the foundation.
Yeah, and When Georgia Smiled is Robin's foundation that is devoted to helping women that are victims of domestic violence. Yes. And she's very active in that arena, and is going to be talking about it tomorrow. So we are excited for you.
So happy.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to our medical team at Doctor On Demand for assisting some of my team in preparation for the show. If you at home want to have your own Doctor On Demand, an app that Jay and I have created, go to Google Play or App Store, and you can download the Doctor On Demand app. Click your smartphone, and you're eyeball to eyeball with a doc. Don't even have to leave your home. We'll see you next time. Thanks.